that Caitlin Clark should have been on the team ahead of the 12 people selected ahead of her because of basketball.
Well, I mean, if you want to talk about bullies, we can talk about every time Caitlin has the ball, she pushes off.
And then obviously college basketball has come true, and then hopefully the WNBA here very shortly.
If you're going to break a record, to me, if it's legitimate, you have to break that record in the same amount of time that that player said.
Well, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? That's why you should have had Caitlin Clark.
Stephen A. Smith just called out a WNBA legend for a major oversight. What could make him go after one of the greats? It's all about a rookie who's changing the game, and you won't believe who got left out of the conversation. Alright, let's talk about the bombshell that started this whole thing, Sheryl Swoopes' stunning snub of Caitlin Clark. On her podcast, Queens of the Court, Swoopes was singing the praises of the Indiana Fever's roster. She gushed about players like Aaliyah Boston, Kelsey Mitchell, and Erica Wheeler. But there was one glaring omission that had everyone scratching their heads: Caitlin Clark. Now, you might be thinking, so what? She forgot to mention one player. But here's the thing, this isn't just any player we're talking about. Caitlin Clark isn't just making waves. She's causing a tsunami in the WNBA. She's leading the league in assists, for crying out loud, and that's not even the half of it. Clark's impact goes way beyond the stat sheet. She's filling arenas like never before. We're talking sold out crowds, people lining up around the block just to catch a glimpse of her in action. It's like Beatlemania, but with crossover dribbles instead of guitar solos. But wait, there's more. The TV ratings? They're through the roof when Clark's on the court. We're talking record-breaking numbers here. Fans can't get enough of her, and they're tuning in by the millions to watch her play. So, for Swoopes to leave Clark out of the conversation, it's not just a small oversight. It's like forgetting to mention the sun when you're talking about what makes plants grow. It's that big of a deal. Now, the question on everyone's mind is, was this just an honest mistake? Did Swoopes simply have a brain fart and forget about the most talked about rookie in years? Or is there something more going on here? You've got to wonder what could make a legend like Swoopes overlook such a game-changing player. Is there some kind of tension behind the scenes that we don't know about? Are the established stars feeling threatened by this young phenom who's stealing all the headlines?
For other players coming in, right? So people say, dang, like he or she's killing them, but you have a 25-year-old playing against a 20-year-old.
College basketball has ever seen.
A deep one. You bet! Caitlin Clark!
Well, I mean, if you want to talk about bullies, we can talk about every time Caitlin has the ball, she pushes off. If you're going to break a record, to me, if it's legitimate, you have to break that record in the same amount of time that that player said.
These questions are swirling around the basketball world, and they're not going away anytime soon. The WNBA is at a crossroads, and how they handle rising stars like Clark could make or break the league's future. But let's put this in perspective for a second. We're not just talking about one player getting snubbed on a podcast. This is about the entire landscape of women's basketball shifting beneath our feet. Clark isn't just a great player, she's a phenomenon that's changing the game. Think about it. When was the last time you saw this much buzz around a WNBA player? When was the last time you heard people who've never watched a women's basketball game in their lives suddenly talking about assists and triple doubles? That's the Caitlin Clark effect. She's not just raising her own profile, she's elevating the entire sport, and that's why Swoopes' omission is such a big deal. It's not just about giving credit where it's due, it's about recognizing the forces that are shaping the future of the game. Now, let's talk numbers for a second. You want to know just how big of an oversight Swoopes made? Check this out. The viewership for games featuring Clark is breaking records left and right. We're talking millions of eyeballs glued to screens whenever she steps on the court. In fact, Clark's debut game for the Indiana Fever drew a whopping 2.5 million viewers. That's not just good, it's groundbreaking. It's the kind of number that makes TV executives sit up and take notice. It's the kind of number that could change the way networks think about broadcasting women's basketball. Stephen A. Smith isn't just mad, he's on a mission to set the record straight. When he heard about Sheryl Swoopes leaving Caitlin Clark out of the conversation, he didn't just raise an eyebrow, he unleashed a verbal storm that's got everyone talking.
That Caitlin Clark should have been on the team ahead of the 12 people selected ahead of her because of basketball. I said marketing matters in everything. Promotion matters in everything. And you're not going to get around that. That is what I said. Well, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? That's why you should have had Caitlin Clark.
Smith didn't mince words. He called Swoopes' omission insane. That's right, not just surprising or unfortunate, but flat out insane. You can almost see the veins popping in his forehead as he laid into this oversight. But why is he so fired up? Well, for starters, Smith pointed out the obvious. How do you talk about the Indiana Fever and mention a multitude of players, and not one of them is Caitlin Clark? It's like talking about the Chicago Bulls in the 90s and forgetting to mention Michael Jordan. It just doesn't make sense. But Smith's reaction isn't just about one player getting snubbed. It's about something much bigger. He's shining a spotlight on a deeper issue in the WNBA. Are established stars having trouble recognizing and celebrating new talent? Is there a generational divide that's holding the league back? These questions aren't just idle speculation. They're at the heart of the WNBA's future. Smith argues that acknowledging rising stars like Clark isn't just good manners. It's crucial for the league's growth and success. Think about it. Clark isn't just putting up impressive numbers. She's bringing in fans by the thousands. She's breaking viewership records. She's making people who've never watched a WNBA game before sit up and take notice. In short, she's growing the pie for everyone. That's why Smith's words carry so much weight. He's not just defending one player. He's advocating for the future of the entire league. He's saying, hey, we've got something special here. Let's not mess it up. But there's more to Smith's argument than just numbers and popularity. He's touching on something fundamental about sports and progress. Sheryl Swoopes is one of the greatest players ever in the history of basketball, Smith acknowledged. But then he dropped this truth bomb. To be as accomplished as she is, there is no way in hell you just accidentally left Caitlin Clark's name out. Ouch. That's not just criticism, that's a challenge to the old guard. Smith is saying, you're better than this. You know how important new talent is. Don't let your legacy blind you to the future. This isn't just about Swoopes and Clark. It's about how the WNBA handles its changing of the guard. Every sport goes through this. The veterans who built the league have to make room for the rookies who will take it to new heights. But it's not always a smooth transition. Smith's passionate defense of Clark underscores just how important this moment is for the WNBA. The league is on the cusp of something big. It's got more eyes on it than ever before. It's breaking records left and right. But to really capitalize on this momentum, everyone needs to be pulling in the same direction. That's why Smith's words matter so much. He's not just stirring up drama. He's pushing for a mindset shift that could propel the WNBA into a new era of popularity and success. Think about the implications. If veterans like Swoopes fully embrace rising stars like Clark, it could create a powerful synergy. Imagine the wisdom and experience of the old school combined with the energy and innovation of the new generation. That's a recipe for explosive growth. Let's zoom out for a second and look at the bigger picture. This clash between Stephen A. Smith and Sheryl Swoopes isn't just about one player or one comment. It's shining a spotlight on some serious tensions bubbling up in the WNBA. You've got the old guard, the legends who built this league from the ground up. They've poured their blood, sweat, and tears into making women's basketball what it is today.
Well, my mom has this piece of paper when I was in 2nd or 3rd grade, and it has you write down all your dreams in these little bubbles. And I remember one of them was playing the WNBA and earn a basketball scholarship. But so I think those were two of my biggest goals. And then obviously college basketball has come true, and then hopefully the WNBA here very shortly.
But now there's a new wave of talent crashing onto the scene, and it's making waves like never before. Caitlin Clark isn't just a great player, she's a phenomenon. She's bringing in fans who've never watched a WNBA game in their lives. She's breaking records left and right. But here's the million-dollar question. Is the league ready for this kind of star power? Think about it. The WNBA has always been about teamwork, about lifting each other up, but now you've got a player who's stealing all the headlines. Some folks might see that as a threat to the league's culture. Others might see it as the key to taking women's basketball to the next level. But this controversy is forcing the WNBA to take a long, hard look in the mirror. How do they handle this surge of new talent? How do they balance respect for the legends with excitement for the future? These aren't easy questions, but they're ones the league needs to answer fast. Because here's the thing, the WNBA is at a crossroads. They've got more eyes on them than ever before. They've got a chance to explode into the mainstream in a way they never have before. But if they don't play their cards right, they could miss out on this golden opportunity. Imagine what could happen if the league doesn't get on the same page about celebrating its rising stars. You could see a divide forming between the old school and the new school. You could see fans taking sides, creating rifts in the fan base. Worst of all, you could see potential new fans turning away, thinking the WNBA is stuck in the past. But it doesn't have to be that way. In fact, this moment could be exactly what the WNBA needs to catapult itself into a new era of popularity and success.
In regards to Clark, starting with WNBA legend Sheryl Swoopes herself. There is no way in hell you just accidentally left Caitlin Clark's name out of that soliloquy that you dropped about the Indiana Fever. Stop it. I think the Olympic break really helped Indiana. I'm going to shout out to Lexi Hull. I'm a big Lexi Hull fan. Lexi Hull shot the leather off the ball in their game against Seattle.
Picture this, the legends of the game embracing the new generation, veterans taking rookies under their wing, sharing their wisdom and experience, rising stars bringing in new fans by the thousands, the league working together to create a perfect blend of tradition and innovation. That's not just a nice idea, it could be the key to unlocking the WNBA's full potential. We're talking sold out arenas every single night, TV ratings through the roof, merchandise flying off the shelves, the kind of mainstream appeal that men's sports have enjoyed for decades. But it all starts with how the league handles moments like this. Do they shy away from the spotlight, or do they lean into it? Do they try to tamp down the hype around players like Caitlin Clark, or do they fan the flames and ride the wave? The answer seems pretty clear. The WNBA needs to embrace its stars, both old and new. They need to celebrate the legends who built the foundation and the phenoms who are taking it to new heights. Because when you've got a player like Caitlin Clark bringing millions of new eyes to your league, you don't hide that light under a bushel. You put it on full display and let it shine. This isn't just about one player or one season. It's about the future of women's basketball. It's about creating a league that can stand toe-to-toe with any men's sport in terms of popularity and respect, and the WNBA has never been closer to that goal than they are right now. So yeah, Stephen A. Smith's reaction might seem over the top, Sheryl Swoopes' omission might seem like no big deal, but when you look at the bigger picture, you start to see just how much is at stake here.